This is a telephone interview with Mr. Edward K. Plumeau. It is approximately 1:45, Friday the 5th of November, 2004. The interview is at the New York State Military Museum in Saratoga Springs. The interviewer is Wayne Clarke. Mr. Plumeau, where were you born and raised?
I was born on the 18th of October, 1931 in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. Did you grow up in Brooklyn?
No, my father was a member of the New York City Fire Department. He was a battalion chief. And when he retired in 1939, we moved to Rhinebeck, New York, which is in the Hudson Valley about 20 miles north of Poughkeepsie. And I grew up in Rhinebeck, and I was a resident of Rhinebeck until 1956.
Okay. And when and where did you enter the service?
Okay, I entered the service from my home in Rhinebeck, which is on Slate Quarry Road in the town of Rhinebeck, in January of 1953 through the City of Poughkeepsie Draft Board. And I went to Albany first, the reception center kind of a thing in Albany. And I went from there to Fort Devens, Massachusetts, the reception center, where we had various aptitude tests. We were issued uniforms, first series of shots of various kinds. And from there, the group I was with went to Fort Dix, New Jersey for infantry basic training. We were assigned to the F Company of the 47th Infantry Regiment, 9th Infantry Division. And with me were a number of people from New York State who had entered service with me in Albany. At the end of the 16-week basic training, there were several from New York State, including myself, who were sent to Fort Riley, Kansas, to the Army General School. This was a name, a pseudonym, I guess, for Military Intelligence School. And that was, in our case, a 16-week course, at the conclusion of which, and I can explain this in detail later, those of us who were not on TDY, who were pipeline, were sent mostly to either the continental United States or to Europe. And I wound up in Europe with the Corps of Engineers at Rhein, Maine Air Force Base. At a point in time, my father died, and I came home on morale leave, and I didn't have enough time left to go back overseas, so I was sent to Wolters, W-O-L-T-E-R-S, Wolters Air Force Base in Texas, Mineral Wells, Texas. And I put in the rest of my time there and was discharged in January of 1955. So that is a brief capsule of my military history.
Okay. I noticed that you were assigned to SCARWAF. Is that how that's pronounced?
SCARWAF, yeah. That was a very interesting kind of an assignment. When we graduated from the Military Intelligence School at Fort Riley, they had alternating classes. They didn't leapfrog their classes. The class that I was in went to Europe, essentially. The very next class would go to the Far East. So we went to Europe. And then, depending on your class standing, now there were 56 of us in the class, you got the higher your class standing, the more desirable your assignment was. I remember the fellow who graduated 56th in our class he was sent to Alaska. But I wound up with this assignment to SCARWAF headquarters, 7th Engineer Aviation Brigade, and nobody could tell me what this was. Nobody had heard of this thing before. And what it turned out to be was Special Category Army with Air Force. And it was a group, quite a large group, 2 brigades worth actually, of Army engineers who were assigned to work in and with and for the Air Force. We built airstrips, landing fields, barracks. It was essentially civil engineering for the United States Air Force. And it had been a unit that had started back about 1940 when what was the Army Air Corps found that it needed construction work. And the people who were available to do it were the Army engineers. So the Army engineers worked for the Army Air Force all through World War II. And then in 1948, when the Air Force became a separate entity, they still didn't have the civil engineering capability, so they just kept on using the Army troops. And by 1955, the Army was getting a little restless and said, can we have these people back, please? So the Air Force then started to man some kind of a civil engineering unit on their own. One of the things was they did offer transfers of anybody in the Army unit who wanted to transfer to the Air Force. They could do so with no loss of rank or seniority. And quite a few people did that. But it was a strange outfit. Years and years ago, I went to the Engineer Museum in Fort Belvoir, Virginia, and they had no trace whatsoever of this SCARWAF unit. And I commented it was probably because any of the histories of the organization would be found in the Air Force records, not Army records. Because we were even paid by the Air Force.
No. Now, what was your daily routine like?
Well, I was at brigade headquarters, 7th Engineer Aviation Brigade headquarters in Service Company, and I worked for the adjutant, who was a Major Simmons. By a peculiar twist of fate, I was the brigade historian. That was another strange thing. And I indeed wrote one of the semi-annual brigade histories while I was there. So I was somewhat familiar with the routine of submitting this to Air Force headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
But it was an office job, 8 to 5, Saturday morning training, and we were supposed to be ambassadors of goodwill to the German people. So we did have 2 passes. We had a daily pass, which was good from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then we had a weekend pass, which was good from either Saturday to noon Sunday, or noon Sunday to 6 a.m. Monday. You could have either one of those. And you were encouraged to go out and make friends with the German people and, absorb German culture and things of that nature.
Uh-huh.
We did have rifle training. I remember while we were there, there was a German hunting club nearby. We used their range for rifle training. And then, of course, there was the inevitable alert. When I reported to the house, I remember the first sergeant said to me, you know where you are? And I said, well, it's Frankfurt on Rhein, Germany. And he said, yeah, you're 2 hours by tank and 7 minutes by jet from the East German border. And that was standby in case of emergency. We were to defend the base until all of the non-essential troops, dependents, had flown off. We had the Air Force there were troop carriers. They had several dozen units of troop carriers. And their mission was to fly everybody to England. And the main line of resistance would be set up at the Rhine River. But our job was to hold the base until the last of the planes had taken off.
Mm-hmm.
And so essentially we figured we had it. That's it. You know, we're going to be there because it's going to take them a while to get everybody out. And if we're only 2 hours by tank from the German border, they're going to overrun us before we can get out. So it was kind of disconcerting. They used to say that we'd take up our positions in the woods around the base, and the air police would be there because they had some 50 caliber machine guns and so on. They only had carbines. So what they did would you go out in a truck, drop off the truck at these various pre-selected points, and then they said, if this is a real alert, within 10 minutes after you get there, there'll be another truck come by and it'll drop off your ammunition and grenades. So we all would hide in the woods and watch our watches anxiously for 10 minutes. And if nothing came by, we'd step out and have a cigarette. And I remember on one occasion, within 5 minutes of my hitting the ground, I heard a truck coming up the hill. I said, oh my God, this is it. And what it was they were picking us up. The alert had been called off and was accomplished or whatever it was. They would come by to pick us up, for which I was profoundly grateful.
Were there ever any incidents with the Russians that you know of?
Not really, not where I was. The restriction that we had was that anyone who dealt with any classified material could not visit Berlin. And since I dealt with classified material, I couldn't go to Berlin.
Oh.
However, I did go to Vienna on a long weekend. It was a trip sponsored by the Service Club. And that took a little manipulation because you had to get Russian clearance and so on, too. But there was not a problem because while Berlin was segmented, Vienna was not. There were areas where there were Russians, but there were areas where there were French and American and English.
Mm-hmm.
And these were kind of intermixed. In other words, there wasn't one spot where there was a Russian, where there wasn't some Westerner. So they considered that a lot safer.
Okay.
But I don't know, of any incidents. As I say, where we were, it was pretty quiet.
Okay. I noticed that in your application you said you did some aerial photo interpretation.
Yeah, that's what we learned at Fort Riley.
Okay.
Fort Riley was the military intelligence school for the Army.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that worked is they had a number of different courses there. They had the aerial photo interpretation and cartography, that was when I was in. They had prisoner of war interrogation. They had order of battle analysis. They had code work. Not just, but there were quite a number. And then of all, what happened was when you went there, the first 6 weeks of the training were a combination of all of this and many other things, chemical, biological, radiological, warfare, camouflage, reconnaissance, etc. And then at the end of 6 weeks, you split off into your various fields. The photo interpretation was another 10 weeks. But some of the classes, like I think it was POW interrogation, was like 3 weeks. Code was maybe 6 weeks. So that of the initial group, it kept getting smaller and smaller after the 6th week.
Okay.
But what we did was interpret aerial photographs and sometimes draw maps based on what we saw in the photograph. I never used it. They spent all that time training me, and then when I went to Germany, I went to 7th Brigade headquarters, and they said, well, we don't do that kind of work here. We never did that kind of work, although we're on the TO&E, and if we ever did have it to do, we'd send it to Air Force headquarters in Wiesbaden. So I said, well, all right, what do I do now, Coach? And they said, well, look, we looked at your record, and we see that you're a college graduate majoring in history, and so we're going to make you the brigade historian. All right, that seems fair enough. They called me back a couple days later, and they said, we can't make you the brigade historian. And I said, okay. A historian is an officer's MOS, and you're a private E2, so we're going to make you a clerk typist, and you will write the brigade history. Okay, fair enough.
Now, you did some photography work also?
No, I never took the, oh yes, that was another thing. When I got to Texas, when I got out to Mineral Wells, they didn't know what to do with me. I was supposed to report to the group headquarters. And while I was up there, I happened to meet a sergeant I'd known in Germany. He said to me, were you still a brigade historian? I said, yeah, I was. He said, we need you here. I'm going to go speak to the captain. So he said, okay, you don't go down to the battalion, you stay here. So they had a big argument about my little pink body. And finally they said, okay, we got to let you go, send you down to the battalion. So I sat around down there for a while, and they called me in and they said, we don't really know what to do with you, but I see that you're an amateur photographer. And I said, yeah. And that you took this course in aerial photography. I said, yeah. Okay, we're going to make you the battalion photographer. I said, I don't know anything about developing film. I take pictures. So they sent me down to the base photo lab for a couple of days to learn to develop film and use the equipment. And thus I became a battalion photographer, like that. And of course they changed my MOS to reflect this. I was then a still photographer lab technician. That's what I did until, let's see, that would have been about August of, and about September, October, something. They got a guy who had just graduated from the signal school at Fort Monmouth as a photographer. He'd been a professional photographer in civilian life.
Go ahead, continue.
Okay, so that was about it with my career in photography. I was discharged in the end of January of '55. Of course, I had done 2 years active, but of course I was due for 6 years inactive reserve, which I did put in. I got my honorable discharge in April of 1961.
Now, I see you did 4 years with the state militia?
Yeah, when I was working in Rome, New York Clarke. I'd just been married and was working in Rome, New York, and they announced the state militia program, which I guess was always in existence, but nobody ever mentioned it. And I had belonged to the base pistol club, and as I was working for the Department of Defense at Rome Air Force Base, and I said, that sounds like a good idea. We're all veterans and whatnot. Let's go sign up. So we went down to Utica and signed up. And then shortly thereafter, maybe another year or something like that, I left the Department of Defense and I went to work for IBM in the Hudson Valley. So I just transferred the membership to the unit that was stationed in Poughkeepsie.
Okay.
And at the end of my enlistment, or toward the end of the enlistment, they moved the unit from Poughkeepsie to Newburgh. And I was living in Hyde Park, and that was a long trek down to Newburgh every week. So I didn't sign up again. It was just too far to travel, especially in the bad weather in the Hudson Valley.
Uh-huh.
So I did 4 years. And
now, did you do your training down at Camp Smith?
Yeah, a couple of times there was weapons training, and there was some special training, like a Saturday, like CBR warfare or something like that.
Okay.
Down at Camp Smith. Mostly we used the armory in Poughkeepsie, and occasionally we trained with the National Guard. I remember there was one, we had a training day in the armory with them on crowd and riot control. And it was kind of interesting.
Okay.
And we did use their equipment. In other words, we had a radio link with the unit in Kingston, and we used their radios. And then when we had our drills, we could use their arms room.
All right. And what years did you do that?
Let's see, I think it must have been 1958, I think.
Okay. All right.
That's the firehouse across the street.
Yes. Yes, unfortunately that alarm goes off every couple hours.
No, the reason I got in touch with you because my youngest son lives in Corinth, and when we were up there in the spring, he invited me to go with him down to visit your museum. And we got down there and it was closed for renovation.
Oh, yes.
So when we were up there recently in end of September, and I went down with Jim, and you were open, so we went through and I had a great time, and we got talking to some people there, and I said, well, I'll send in my information too. They brought it home with me and sent it in. That's how come I got involved with you.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Well, you've got a very, very nice organized place there. I was very, very happy to see it and see all your exhibits, and I'm looking forward to next time we're up there, which will probably be this time next year, going through it again to see the additions that you've made.
Yes, there are a couple more exhibits coming up within the next several months. Now, let me ask you this. When you got out, did you join any veterans organizations?
No, I never did. There was a neighbor of ours when we lived in Rome who was going to join the VFW, and I wasn't sure. I gave him my dates of overseas service, and he said that I was eligible, but I never followed up on it.
Uh-huh.
Nor did I follow up on any of the other veterans organizations. For some reason, I just never did.
Yeah. I believe now you're considered a Cold War veteran.
Probably. Nobody ever told me.
Yeah, and my understanding is with the VFW, membership is open now to Cold War veterans.
Oh, well, I was eligible then because I had done whatever 6 months or something, overseas.
Mm-hmm.
But as I say, I never followed up on it at all.
Okay. Have you maintained contact with any of your fellow unit members?
Well, I did for quite a while, and of course, you note that my brother-in-law, Jim Roberts, who died here in Florida just a couple of years ago, he and I turned out eventually to become brothers-in-law.
Yes, I see that.
And there were a number of fellows that Christmas card type thing for a number of years, but not any serious follow-up or anything like that. I believe Jim did with a number of the guys that he knew, because he'd comment once in a while. Some of them were mutual friends in service, and he'd say he just heard from Larry Rich, or he heard from somebody, and oh, how are they doing? That's fine, type of thing. So I know he kept up with with some of the people anyway for some time.
Okay. And how do you think your time in service affected your life?
Well, I'll tell you, it was pretty interesting, actually. The first thing they told us in basic training was something to the effect that you are about to become the world's best trained, best equipped, best paid professional killer. And I said, gosh almighty, oh me, I never killed anything bigger than a deer, And I said, well, if you got to do it, you got to do it. And in order to do that, you learned a lot of self-discipline. And you learned to get along with other people, you learned to fit into a group, and you learned a lot of cooperation. And I think just on that basis, it was certainly worthwhile to me. And I learned some other skills too, photography and that type of thing. And I've always been interested in shooting. I've always owned guns. I grew up in the country. You always had a gun around somewhere. And I enjoyed firing practice, and I think I got to be a better shot at it, although I never quite made the Olympics. We'd go to the tryouts and have a lot of fun, which our gun club would, but we never really made the Olympics, but we did have a lot of fun. But I think it was, it was worthwhile. And then, of course, the travel, I took every advantage when I was in Europe. As I said, we're supposed to be ambassadors of goodwill type of thing, so we had the opportunity to do a lot of traveling. And I traveled. I went all over Germany. I was in Rome one weekend. I was in Vienna. Spent 4 or 5 days in Luxembourg and Belgium. And that was a great opportunity that I would not have had otherwise. Mm-hmm. Like that. As long as nobody was shooting at me, I thought that was a great idea.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that about covers the whole thing. As I say, that list I sent you, that came out of my military records, and as I recall, all of those guys on that list were New York State residents.
Yeah, I looked at the list, and I don't recognize any of the names of anybody that we've interviewed on here.
Maybe not, because some of them were from, they were from all over New York, and they may not have heard about your program at the museum. And at this point, maybe some of those guys aren't even alive. But I thought I'd send it along anyway and say, to the best of my knowledge, they were all New York State residents when they went into service.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for your interview.
Well, thank you very much for your interest. I appreciate it. My family gets bored with my war stories, so I'm glad I could tell somebody else.
Okay, I'm going to stop the machine right here.